All right, folks, we are ready to get started here. Welcome to tonight's webinar presented here by Elite Achievement Solutions, the 48 Days Countdown to the Work You Love for Veterans, and where we will help you discover your passion in 2015. Just to take a quick minute, I want to introduce ourselves. This you can see here, I'm Mike Skiff. I am your co-host tonight. Both Tristan and I. And Tristan, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey guys, how's it going? Tristan Manning here, doing well. Things are ready to rock. We're ready to go ahead and present this good content, and you guys get some out of it.
Absolutely. So Tristan and I, both U.S. Army officers, both been in for just over 10 years apiece. And get our slides back going here. All right, both been in just over 10 years apiece, both majors in the U.S. Army, and we are actually both making the transition off of active duty here in the next couple of months, and we've got quite a bit of experience between the two of us, and we're excited, truly excited to share one in particular with you this evening, and that is in relation to career focus, career direction, and finding your true calling. So we are both leadership and career direction coaches, and naturally, as we've done in the military, we sought out the very best in terms of training, and in this regard, we have been trained in this arena by the very best. Mr. Dan Miller, who, if you look at the picture on your screen there, he's the guy right there in the middle with the white T-shirt. I'm on the left there, Tristan on the right. That was us attending one of his conferences a while back, the Coaching with Excellence conference. We're both part of his coaching mastery program, and so we bring to you a plethora of information, and we bring to you decades of knowledge that Dan Miller brings to the table through what we're going to share with you tonight as well. We just wanted a couple admin notes on the webinar tonight. If you do have any questions at any point during the Hangout, just simply go on the page that you're watching this on right now. You just scroll down just a little bit. You'll see a Facebook comment box there. You can type your question right in there in the Facebook comments box. I will be monitoring that throughout the entire evening, so we'll try and get to any questions you might have as we go through the content here. But really, truly, our main purpose here, our main focus is to provide you with some key information that we found helpful, and share with you how you can kind of follow that same path. If you're looking to leave the military, or you've already left, maybe you're leaving in the next couple of years, we think this will be super helpful to you as we share with you some tricks and some insights that we've learned along the way.
Okay, so I'm Tristan here, like we alluded to earlier, and I want to talk to you real quick. The reason why we're here is because we all have something in common, and that's that we want much more out of what we're currently getting when it comes to job satisfaction or career. And really, this program here that we're going to lay out for you as a blueprint applies to everyone, in that as long as you're a veteran, this is going to be applicable. And there are going to be folks in here that have 2 years in all the way up to I'm retired, I've done 20 plus years, and I've gotten out, and I want something much more out of a career. And so the bottom line is we feel that we owe it to veterans to give them the best tools that are out there, but not commonly shared or may not commonly be known about, and really help you leverage your skills and your passion to get you what you want as far as a career. Like Mike alluded to, if you are in the involuntary separation process, the service is kicking you out for whatever reason it may be, or that you've elected to retire early, or that you just wanted to use the military as a platform to project yourself to that next position, that next job, whatever you wanted to be, and you're leaving on your own terms, that is honorable, and nothing wrong with getting out early. But the bottom line is that we're all here today because we're ready to leave, or that we've left and we want something much more. That is the bottom line. So we're not satisfied with what we currently are in, and we want to expose those programs that we're going to allude to here, what we have. So anyway, common ground is we're all veterans, and that we are going to tap into the skills and attributes that we have to make sure that we are ready to go.
So we're going to start out talking about the military solution, the Army solution, the Marine Corps, the Navy, Air Force, really America's solution to the veterans' unemployment problem. The response to that is the congressionally mandated program called Transition Assistance Program. So this is kind of the boat that all of us are in that are veterans, or even if you've gotten out since 2011, and even technically before that, these programs have been in place. They've just not been, before 2011, they haven't been so heavily scrutinized, and Congress got involved and so on and so forth. But the Veterans Opportunity to Work Act, which was enacted in 2011, is what established the Transition Assistance Program, the mandatory program that all service members, regardless of your branch or what service you're serving in, will go through the TAP program. It's a job search or job matching program. It helps with resume writing, interviewing skills, interviewing practice, etc. And they set you on a track. So when you go through the Transition Assistance Program, and this is where Tristan and I have some pretty fresh insight here as we've both gone through the bulk of this within the last month, they set you on, if you're not interested right away in getting a job and going through the job search process, they also have the option to set you on one of these three tracks: the education track, going back to school, entrepreneur track, or the trade school track. So they've got those options out there as well for those that are transitioning. So again, it's congressionally mandated, and that's the program that is out there right now. However, it may not be for everyone. Tristan?
Yeah, this the problem with the military's TAP program, they're called different things in different services, but the bottom line is that the transition assistance program that are in each respective service really kind of doesn't really it's a one size fits all, okay? And this is problematic, as you might be thinking, because not everybody in the military has the same potential, same drive, same MOS, same skills, same character, same personality, okay? So this becomes problematic when we're looking for a job or looking for the next step, and that is something I think the military has overlooked. They're trying to get that cookie cutter program that is a one slide fit all, or one program fit all, to capture everybody, but really it was mandated by Congress because of the unemployment rate that veterans attribute to. And I think the last numbers I saw, right, we veterans, our unemployment rate is currently at 6.8%, and they're trying to drive that number down, which is great. This is a great program in the sense that, you know, no other program you'll see, or excuse me, no other organization really has the dedicated amount of time and resources that they're pouring into this. But the problem is that, you know, like when I was sitting my TAP class, you know, it wasn't really applicable. There wasn't a lot of emphasis on each individual person. It neglects to look at each individual person's skills and attributes and maybe their training. So it is set up for the lowest common denominator. Let's get this guy a job right out the door so we don't contribute to the unemployment rate. And that's really what the military service is looking at. It's not really, hey, let's spend the time dedicated to this one individual and figure out who they are. So that's the problem with the current situation, and this is where I feel like Mike and I can come in and help those folks that feel that they can get much more out of this, and you owe it to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key point there is that the focus up front, go back one slide here, the focus up front is on your skills and abilities. What what are your skills and abilities? What are you already trying to do, so that we can plug you into a job right away when you're leaving the military, at least through the TAP program. That's kind of the focus. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we're going to talk about how that can potentially limit where you go and what you do post military career.
It can, Mike. I can't.
Yeah,
Let me jump in
yeah,
real quick. It can be a bad thing if you are choosing to leave the military because you're not satisfied with what you're currently doing.
yeah, yeah.
So that would be a problem for those folks, and I think that's the majority of folks. Like, hey, I don't like what I'm currently doing, and the TAP program puts you in that same category, same occupation, if you will, in the civilian sector, and you realize, holy smokes, I'm not very satisfied here.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So we did some research, and we were just kind of thinking, all right, if I'm just wanting to consult the big man in the sky here, Google, and figure out what does Google think about leaving the military, what's going to be the common theme here. So switch windows, and I'm going to do a Google search. Should I stay or should I leave the military, right? And I'm just going to look at the top 3 blog post articles that pop up here and see if I notice anything that's a common theme here. So let's look at the first one. First one here from Military One Source, making the decision to leave. Let's just hit the highlights here. Oh, point number 1. Consider your military benefits, right? So we're talking pay, we're talking about medical and dental insurance, life insurance, your retirement pension, probably the most generous retirement plan out there. There's no other organization that does what the military does anymore in terms of retirement pension. Commissary and exchange, your education benefits. What are things you can expect in terms of changes? It talks about income is on there, predictable income expectations, etc. So anyway, a lot about pay and benefits, insurance, etc. All right, let's look at the second one on the list. Oh, look what we see here. It's a big calculator, right? I can guess this is going to have something to do with finances. Let's see, long-term financial goals. Let's see. Yeah, short-term considerations such as a bad boss. Definitely don't want to make your decision just off of that. Let's see. Housing costs, taxes, life insurance, education. Okay, so we're sensing a little bit of a theme. Financial considerations, right? I don't know if you're picking up on the same thing I am here. Let's look at the third one here, just see what we got. Okay, so this is kind of a forum for military folks, and this guy's asking, reader is asking, wondering about whether he should stay or go, financial challenges that are faced, et cetera, and this is what's interesting. I read through this a little bit earlier. This guy talks about it's a personal decision, which it is. Everybody has to make on their own circumstances. This is the key sentence in his response. However, I personally think you would be better off, again, looking just at the financial side, by staying in for another 12 years. I promise it will fly by, and then retiring with the guaranteed pension and dirt cheap medical insurance. Okay, so let's see if we all picked up on the same theme. And yeah, it's pretty much just from Google's perspective, which that just means what's most popular on the web, and that would be those financial benefits, pay and benefits type focus on whether or not you should stay or leave the military, and the considerations you should look at when you do decide to leave the military. So we're going to talk to you tonight about how maybe, while that's important, don't get us wrong, that's an important aspect of this, and we all want to be paid what we feel that our skills and our abilities warrant, but perhaps we ought to look at something besides pay and benefits as our starting point, and then save the best for last, so to speak. Save that whole analysis to the end once we've gone through some of these other steps here we're going to talk about.
So you can choose to suck it up and drive on. You can choose to go ahead and continue on the process, but quite frankly, you wouldn't be here right now listening to what we have to say if you were 100% satisfied and fulfilled with your current career. That's the bottom line. And we want to help everybody get there. We want to help you get there. We want to help you show how you can get there and lay that blueprint down. But 99.9% of folks are just going through that exact scenario I was just alluding to. They are choosing to say, hey, you know what? It's not that bad. I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. Um, live it for the with just live with it now, and then hopefully, it'll pay off in the long run. But I'm really not that satisfied. And you can choose to do that, and which is fine. It's just like Mike alluded to. It's your decision. It's your path. You walk your own path in life. Um, and the best thing you'll get is what we call quiet desperation. This is where you deep down inside feel this emptiness with the career that you have. You don't really have a passion for what you're doing. You're just clocking in, clocking out, clocking in, clocking out. We call that the rat race. How many people know somebody in that situation, if not you yourself? And the worst case scenario, you wake up every morning absolutely hating your job. You absolutely hate it, and you dread going to your work. You can't wait to leave. You hate the commute. And this is, like I said, 99.9% of people just going through life. I refuse to live like that. I honestly do. Mike and I have found a way to capitalize on our situation, our skills, and our abilities, and we want to exploit that for you. Certainly, there's got to be a better way than to do just this, and that's what we want to show you.
Yeah, so really highlighting those last 2 points there. Best case, quiet desperation, just kind of getting along. Worst case, you hate your job. And just to tie that into the military and the civilian side, this could be the case for you regardless of where you're at right now. If you're currently serving and you kind of find yourself in that position, then that applies. But if you're also someone who's left the military, you're a veteran, you've left the military a year ago, 6 months ago, 10 years ago, whatever the case may be, and you kind of find yourself in this boat. You went through the transition program, you kind of were disillusioned, took the job that was available, and find yourself in this situation right now. So either way, wherever you're at, we can help. In our solution here, we truly believe there is a better way, and we're going to talk to you about how we discovered that and how we actually executed that. So I talked about money being, pay and benefits being the number one consideration, at least when I Google, should I stay or leave the military? But this is what we've discovered as a better way to look at things, starting off with your values, your dreams, and your passions. These three things are extremely important. And if you think back to what you enjoyed doing as a kid, what you enjoyed doing as a young adult, those hobbies, those passions that you had in life before you had to, kind of become responsible and get a quote real job. And these are the things that we want to tap into. Look back in our past, find out what we value most, what we dream about, what not just dream during sleep, but what do we daydream about? What are things that we wish we were doing, and what are we passionate about? We've all got something that we're passionate about, whether it's a side hobby or a cause or whatever the case may be, and we want to tap into these three areas. Next is to look at our unique personality traits. Every one of us has a unique personality, and Tristan and I will talk about how we went through this process. There are a ton of different, you can just Google personality tests and you'll come up with hundreds if not thousands of those. There are a couple really that are kind of the gold standard, and one of those being the DISC personality profile. So that's one that we used in order to figure out what are our individual unique personality traits. And then, so we're going in this order. It's important that we're looking at and weighing each of these things appropriately with our value, dreams, and passions up front, tying that in with our unique personality traits, and then looking at our skills and abilities. What do we already know how to do? What are we already trained in doing, and what traits do we already possess that fit in with those top 4 items on the list? So instead of starting out, much like the TAP program does, with your skills and abilities and making an assessment off that, we are talking about starting with your values, dreams, and passions, your unique personality, discovering what that is, and then figuring out how your skills and abilities fit into that whole picture.
So a lot of skeptics out there, okay? There's a lot of skeptics, and this is what we want to lay out for you, is that you are going to be criticized for choosing your own path, okay? There are folks that just say, hey, Just get a normal job, get a real job, go do what everybody else is doing, and that'll be the end of it. And you will get criticized, but what I want you to understand is that it's okay to explore other options. Okay, what we don't want you to do is take the first option or opportunity that presents itself as far as a job is concerned outside the military. And some of you listening right now already have done that, and that's why you're listening right now, is because you're not fulfilled. And so you'll get criticized even from the closest friends and family. They'll say, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Now, granted, they're saying it from a caring and supportive perspective, but just understand not everybody has the drive and desire that you have. The fact that you're here listening today shows that you have that potential, you have that drive that will excel you amongst your peers. Okay, that's why you're listening right now, is because you are elite. You want to separate yourself from everybody else. And it's okay to be criticized, but just understand that you have something innate in you that will constantly push you and drive you, and that's why you will be successful. Okay, what we don't want you to do is just understand to be like, hey, let's take the road traveled because everybody has done it and everybody's living it. But look at everybody else, okay? Look around you. Look about the people that you know in your life. Are they 100% satisfied with what they're doing? There might be a small select few, but it's because most likely they've chosen to forge their own path and blaze their own path, okay? So just understand you will get criticized during this process.
Yeah, just to chime in on that, Tristan, it kind of reminds me this whole mindset of sticking with the safe, the beaten path, just get a real job, etc. I mean, let's look at our society in terms of health and fitness and financial fitness, right? If you look at our country, the majority of Americans are in debt. Generally, I think the number now is like on average $10,000 of credit card debt, or it might be even higher than that by now, but they're overweight or they're obese. I mean, the majority of America is in a predicament when it comes to financial health and physical health. And so the point here is, if you want to live like nobody else is living, and this is some of you will recognize this is a Dave Ramsey quote, but if you want to live like no one else is living, then you have to do things that very few people are doing. And so we're talking about the folks like you that are listening right now, that want to get away from the beaten path. Practically speaking, right? Practically speaking, that last bullet on the slide, people are going to tell you this is not a practical thing. It's not practical for you to take a risk and do something a little bit different and follow your dreams and passions, right? Come on now, that's not practical. But what if we could say, I don't know if anybody knows whose quote this is attributed to, but choose a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life, because you're always enjoying what you're doing. It's no longer work. It's a part of your life, and that's attributed to Confucius, in case you didn't know. But we want to talk about why you should, and remember that word practically speaking. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. But before we get into that, you do have an unfair advantage as a military veteran, and we're going to talk here why that is.
So these 4 bullets here, discipline, training and education, work ethic, and determination, these are just 4 of many, many characteristics, if you will, that you as a veteran have against folks that haven't served at all. The fact that you served in the military, you have discipline ingrained in you, whether it was basic training or officer basic training, AIT, whatever route you took. As you entered the military, it instilled discipline in you, and that obviously is the mantra within the military. Nothing can happen without discipline, and so it's innate in you already. Training and education, you've probably gone through quite a bit of extensive training and education in the military, especially if you've served in the last 13 years. We've been in conflict, armed conflict. We have had the best sort of training, the best unconventional education and training for that matter. That sets you apart from everyone else. The expectation is a lot more from a veteran than it is a civilian that hasn't served. Your work ethic. We as veterans are more mission-based than we are time-based, and many folks in the civilian sector are just all about clocking in and clocking out, that 9 to 5 rat race that I alluded to earlier. 9 to 5, I'm in, I'm out, I'm done, I don't want to be at work anymore. We have been expected to complete the job, and we leave when we're done with the job. We start as early as possible. Methodical planning goes into it, and we pour our heart and souls into this. And this is why we have extensive work ethic, determination, because we have been a nation at war for the last 13 years. And if you've deployed, you've understood that our soldiers have gone through a lot of innovative things to make it more safe for convoys, for base security, things like that. And that's where the determining factor comes in. You wanted to be much more safe. It wasn't adequate enough what the Army gave you, the Navy gave you, the Marine Corps gave you, the Air Force gave you, or the Coast Guard, and there's a determining factor. So you have the determination. These are just 4 things we wanted to highlight that sets you apart from civilian folks that haven't served, and these are things that we will leverage, or that you will leverage, as you go about this process.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the question comes up, has this ever been done before? Has anybody ever done this, taken a different approach than the standard transition assistance process? And the answer is absolutely. So I want to start off, I just want to share really briefly my own journey as what's brought me here to this point. And I'll start off with, you know, commissioned as an officer in the Army back in 2004. I fully intended to do 4 years, get out of the Army, and do something else. This was going to be a stepping stone, right? Well, if you fast forward, you know, do the math, almost 11 years later now, and still on active duty, still loving serving and enjoying my career. And so that's one thing I want to make clear for both Tristan and I. Neither of us are leaving active duty because we are disillusioned or hate our jobs or whatever the case may be. We just discovered there was something out there, something different, something bigger that was more in line with our values, dreams, and passions. So for me, that turning point in my military career, when I realized that I was going to be doing something different, was a pretty significant life event in my own life, and that was in 2008, December 2008. I had a son who was born with a very, very complex heart defect, and he lived for just under 4 months, and then he passed away. And in that whole process, in that time, I came away a few months later with the realization that as much as I enjoyed and loved the military, and I did, I was especially enjoyed my job at the time. I enjoy my job that I'm currently in, but I knew that there was something bigger for me out there, something different that I wanted to pursue. Initially, what that looked like for me was in the medical community. I wanted to get into the community where I could give back to all the folks that had helped my son, and also because I identified with that community so well, that's what I initially pursued. Now, I think everything happens for a reason, and for some reason, I kept running into some dead ends, some brick walls. Got all my coursework done, got all my prerequisites done, but when it came time for the final phase here of that educational program, it just kept running into a brick wall. So what ended up happening was that caused me to really kind of go back to the drawing board and do some soul searching, figure out what it is that I was truly after in life, not just in a career, but what was I after in life? And ultimately, it was about impact. How could I impact the most people, starting with my own sphere of influence, my family, my wife, my kids, my extended family. How could I impact them the most, and then leverage that to impact hundreds, thousands of other people? And so I kept coming back to this common theme of pursuing a career where I was able to essentially be my own boss, to be an entrepreneur, to be somebody that sets my own schedule, that answers to myself in a sense, and pursue a career where I have the freedom and ability to do just that. So I looked at kind of some options in the publishing arena. I've always been very fascinated and interested in publishing in many different subsets of that. So anyway, I went after looking for a publishing position that could fit that mold, where I would work from home, I'd be able to kind of set my own schedule, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I researched a couple of different companies, and I ended up focusing in on one in particular. Their values aligned with my values. What they had to offer was right in line with what I was looking for in terms of income potential and the flexibility that it had for families, etc. And so I decided I became laser focused on that company. Did some research, asked around to folks that not only work there but have interacted with that company, and I ended up pulling the trigger. I sent in my resume, made contact with their HR folks, and shortly thereafter I was granted an interview, so a telephonic interview. Went through a series of telephonic interviews with this company before an in-person interview, and I was offered the job. And so in essence, by following what we're about to outline here step by step, I was able to discover what I really wanted to do, discover how, and step by step how I was going to do that. I applied for one job. Now the transition assistance program, one of the things you have to do as a part of that, you've got to apply to at least 3 different jobs and so on and so forth. And you know, if I were to share with you, I don't have these numbers in front of me, but if I were to share with you the success rate of posting your resume to one of those job boards versus getting an interview, it's extremely low. I mean, you'd have to post to hundreds of different or apply for hundreds of different positions before you actually get an interview, get your foot in the door. Well, by using this formula that we're going to share with you, I actually applied for one job, went through the interview process, and was hired on the spot at the in-person interview for that job. So just to kind of share with you my journey, that's how I ended up where I am today. And that's just a testament to what we're going to share with you and how you can really, I truly believe anybody could have done what I did. I'm nobody special. Just followed a plan and executed that plan. Tristan, brother, share what where you're at.
Yeah, so I've been in the military 10 years, deployed 3 times, 3-time company commander. I love commanding soldiers. I love leading, coaching, and mentoring. It was the only reason why I've stayed in the military up until this point, or had those opportunities not presented themselves and I would have only had one command, I would have been out already. So I have been debating getting out of the military for the past 4 years, been riding that fence, looking at is the grass really greener on the other side. Played with that for a while, but the only thing, like I said, kept me in was because I was offered multiple commands back to back, and I loved every single one of them. This last deployment came back from Afghanistan about a year ago, and met my beautiful bride, started a family. Things were really in motion, and we talked about what's next to come. And she knew that it was something that I was always debating whether I should stay in or get out. And we talked one night and just kind of set our paths on what we wanted out of life. And I was, stationed in the location where I could see myself getting out of the military. I have family and friends in my current location, and it couldn't have been a better opportunity for me to kind of seize that. And so was able to go down, read Dan's book, which Mike introduced me to. We went down and met Dan at his workshop, and I really was sold at this point. Dan, his methodology to coaching someone into getting that dream job, that career that they really want to be a realistic, tangible thing, we can actually do this. And so I decided at that point with my family, I said, you know what, looking back at my values and prioritizing what I wanted out of life, I said this is the time for me to do it and get out of the military. And the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, being on here as a co-founder with Elite Achievement Solution, is because I do have a tie still to the veterans. I still see myself coaching and mentoring veterans through the process, whether they're transitioning or they're currently in the military. And by no means was Mike or I separated or going to be separated involuntarily. We're choosing to leave. This is something that we've voluntarily did, or doing, I should say. And I just felt like I have much more to offer outside of the military, but providing that mentorship and guidance to military veterans. So that's kind of my story.
Awesome, awesome. So, getting back to that word practical that I mentioned earlier, I want to share with you something from the 48 Days Countdown program that we're going to unpack here. Embracing your dreams is the most practical way to enjoy life and achieve the success you're looking for. So, when we were talking earlier about practicality, being practical, practically speaking, you should be pursuing that safe route, the pension plan, the 401k, everything that is set up for you with the pay and benefits as the focus right out of the gate, right? Well, what we've discovered, and what we're going to share with you here, this real briefly, the overview of the formula that we followed is perhaps the most practical way to approach this process. And so, revisiting TAP, right? We talked about TAP, set up for the lowest common denominator, focuses on your skills and abilities, your military training, and your occupation in the military. It's a one-size-fits-all program, and it's a numbers game. Really, they're focused on getting you a job, which is a noble thing, but it's not necessarily focused on high-potential individuals like you and I who don't just want a job. We want to pursue a career that we're passionate about, that we truly love. So our message is don't settle, right? Don't settle for this. And so here's the steps we took to do this.
Yeah, we looked inward, we looked at ourselves, and we said, we reevaluated, what do we truly value? How do we prioritize those things that we value? Family, free time, autonomy, travel, whatever it may be, these are values that you have, right? Your dreams and your passions. Mike already went through all of that, and that makes up about 85% of this formula, okay? Unique personality traits. The DISC profile is something that we recommend. We like it. It's user-friendly. It's quick and simple, but very methodical. But we were intentional. So Mike used a phrase called laser-focused. This is where you have to be intentional with what you want. Okay, we can't just cast the wide net and hope something comes our way. That is what 99.9% of everyone else is doing in the civilian workforce. They're casting a wide net, and they're just taking that first opportunity that comes. You have to be very precision focused. You have to be intentional with what you want. Okay, you're already driven and determined. We've already laid that out. The biggest point I want to make on this slide is that you have to make a plan. Okay, we will show you how that happens upcoming here. But making the plan is taking that first step. That's really your first step, is making a plan.
So here's the formula. Again, this is no need to reinvent the wheel. Some of the things or this is one of the lessons we learned in the military, is that there is no plagiarism in the military, right? When someone's done something, there's no need to necessarily reinvent the wheel. You can tweak and you can make some changes, but going off of a proven formula is always a better option than reinventing something from scratch. So the program or the formula that we used is the 48 Days to the Work You Love, and that's just a hardcover book that goes through step by step. And again, this is drawing on decades of experience in coaching from one of the experts in this arena, and you know, he's not a self-proclaimed expert. He's got quite a few folks out there, including folks like Dave Ramsey, and many other prominent names that will tell you this is the gold standard when it comes to career transition and finding that direction. It's a step-by-step process. There is no guesswork in the process. Everything is literally laid out in the 48-day timeline from step 1, day 1, all the way to the last step, day 48. So you are given a clear roadmap to get from point A to the work that you love and discovering that. There's a daily checklist that was part of this formula, and again, it's a 48-day process. In my case, just to go back to my own experience, I think I was able to get from step 1 or day 1 to day 48 in only 32 days. So even though it's a 48-day formula here that we're using, it actually can be done quicker than that. And it included some daily coaching and encouragement. In our case, in Tristan in my case, that included connecting with folks that were in this program as well, and also connecting individually with our coach Dan Miller, who put the formula together in essence. And so the 48 days, just a quick aside, that's just because at some point you've got to put a timeline on things, and I think this used to be called something else didn't have that 48-day timeline, and so Dan ended up putting basically a timeline so that people would act within a certain period of time instead of procrastinating, dragging your feet. And it really was conducive to getting from point A to point B within a set timeline.
So how this all works is that you will read 48 Days to the Work You Love. This book goes through step by step, day by day. It tells you not to advance. It's really dumbed down. It's a very simple read. It's user-friendly, and it will show you everything you need to do. The daily checklist that comes along in this whole thing is what requires effort on your part besides actually reading 48 Days to the Work You Love. It requires you to take action on whatever the checklist says you do. Like I said, or like Mike said earlier, it's a step-by-step process, and that's just kind of the way it lays it out for you. It worked for Mike, I think, in something like 32 days. So 48 days is just kind of like a timeline of to lay that out. It could happen much sooner. Typically does. Also, daily coaching and encouragement. So this is something that you'll be able to have in your back pocket, in your toolkit. Somebody to help you along that process, give you encouragement, helps you push you through that next step, and gives you insight into something, if not a different perspective maybe. And then individual coaching. So that really covers down on the folks that are going through that process or have done that, and yeah, so that's kind of how you will discover all this.
Yeah, each of these components are very important, and so what we decided to do, and the whole reason, we're not just here to talk to you about the formula and our story and all that. As Tristan mentioned, we are truly passionate about helping other people, in particular veterans. So we decided to make this easy for you. We put together the 48 Days Countdown to the Work You Love specifically for veterans. So we understand the unique situation that you're in. We're in the same boat as you are and are actually going through the same process that you'll go through in this program. So 48 Days Countdown to the Work You Love specifically for veterans. We put our special sauce in there, so to speak, to the proven formula here to tailor it specific to you. So here's what we're offering. Here's what's included in this package, the 48 Days Countdown for Veterans. If you decide that, yeah, you know what, I'm ready to make the leap, I'm ready to do something and pursue my values, dreams, and passions, here's how we want to help you. We're going to send you a signed hard copy of the book, of Dan Miller's book, 48 Days to the Work You Love. We're going to send you that daily checklist from day 1 all the way to day 48. And not just that, but you're going to get weekly email coaching and encouragement from Tristan and myself, and we'll go pretty deep in these email coaching sessions. And you'll have 2 live webinars, not including this one. Obviously, this is a freebie. This is our overview here of what we're doing. The kickoff and the finale, which we'll talk about the dates and all of that, but all this is part of the 48 Days to the Work You Love countdown for veterans. So if you added up all that, the total value of the package is really right at about $510, give or take. But we believe, and we found so much value in that individual one-on-one coaching that we've received through the process, that we decided it would be well worth it to throw in the 15-minute one-on-one coaching call with Tristan or myself, really with the whole purpose of giving you clarity, focus, and encouragement at the outset. And you're not having to go this alone. You shouldn't have to do this alone or just be another number in the TAP system. We want to give you that one-on-one encouragement, one-on-one coaching to help set you on the right pace, set you on the right azimuth as you embark on your journey, whether you're leaving or have already left and are looking to make a change. So if you added all that up, $585 total value for everything. Again, the signed hard copy, daily checklist, the weekly email coaching, 2 live webinars, and the free 15-minute one-on-one coaching call. Of course, we're not going to charge $585. That's way too high for something like this. $48 is our normal normal price for this package. It kind of lines right up with the 48 days countdown. However, with it being Cyber Monday tomorrow and the holiday season here, we really are wanting you to get started before the new year. So this thing will kick off on December 15th. So it's kind of a limited window here if you want to get in on this. But we're charging 25% off of our normal price, $36. You can get all of these items and join the program, where you'll, again, I think the biggest part of this is the coaching that you'll get, individual coaching from Tristan and I. So going back to TAP, as we mentioned, if you're not interested in doing this, you can just stick to the basic TAP program, where you're another number in the system there. They're probably going to find you a job, but it's going to be based on that lowest common denominator. And you don't have to settle for this. We don't want you to settle for this. We put this together specifically to help you figure out and discover what you're truly passionate about in life. And as we mentioned before, that's probably the most practical thing that you can do when you're getting ready to make a change. Instead, we want you to look inward, look at your values, dreams, and passions, figure out your unique personality, be intentional, and make that plan. Start today. Decide today that you are going to make a plan and not just go with the standard one-size-fits-all approach. So just to cover the important part here, that $36 price ends on Friday, this Friday, December 5th at midnight, and that's so that we can get everything going, that we can get you all your materials shipped out to you in the mail by December 15th, and that's going to be day one. That's going to be our launch, our kickoff live webinar with the participants, and then that takes us all the way to day 48, coming in at February 1st. Now we built in there a day off, so it's actually 50 days if you were to do the math, and that 2 days off are for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So we don't want you to be focused on those 2 days. We want you to be focused on what you ought to be focused on, your time with your family, etc. So day one, December 15th. And the other thing that we need to tell you here is that we've only opened this to 20 folks, so only 20 spots for this package, and that's just to keep it intimate, to keep it close, and so that Tristan and I can ensure that every last one of you gets that individualized attention that you deserve, and that, quite frankly, the TAP program doesn't quite afford you when you leave the military. The Transition Assistance Program does not give you that individualized attention, and we want to give you our best when it comes to that one-on-one coaching. So ends on Friday the 5th, December 5th, and it's open to 20 folks. Go ahead, Tristan.
Yeah. Hey, so real quickly, $36. You can't even go to the movies. You can't even go to dinner for $36. You're getting a heck of a lot of stuff here for $36, and then access to me and Mike one-on-one, being able to do this. And like Mike said, there is a deadline. We want to keep the amount of folks that are participating small, so that way you get dedicated attention that you deserve, and that way we can give you our attention as well. So it's a no-brainer for those folks that are already committed, which is great. And this really is a prime time, because this is when most folks that are elite, that are achievers, are doing their goal setting, right? They're goal setting for 2015 and beyond. They're figuring out what they want to do as a family. They want to figure out financially what their goals are, dedication to, whatever it is they want to excel in. You're probably going to be your best bet, most bang for your buck here, to set yourself and your family for success from 2015 and onward. Okay, so look at it from that perspective, and you really have nothing to lose.
Absolutely, Tristan. Don't wait until January 1st to start looking at how you want to set up 2015, set up your new year, whether you want to consider this a resolution that you're going to make, or whatever the case may be. We all know that I think the number is somewhere about 90% of New Year's resolutions fail. So we want to give you a head start on your new career in 2015 in discovering actually what you are truly passionate about, and being able to help you find a career find work that you truly love using a proven formula that both Tristan and I can attest to actually works. So if you want in, once again, you just click on the sign up button right here on this page. Sign up right now for the 48 Days Countdown for Veterans, and we will confirm your spot. Again, there's only 20 spots. We do anticipate these will fill up relatively quickly based on the demand that we've seen out there for this program. So we can't guarantee that this is going to be available still on the 5th, but we're going to keep it open all the way until December 5th at midnight, or until all the slots, all those 20 slots are filled, so that we can ensure we get started promptly on December 15th, and you have a clear, focused understanding of the work that you truly love by February 1st, 2015. So with that, Tristan, I want to say on behalf of both Tristan and I and everyone out there, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for attending the webinar. One other note, if you want to continue to connect with us, you're not really interested maybe in this program right now, but you want to listen to our free weekly online radio show, go to our website, eliteachievementsolutions.com, and you can check out our free online radio show where we help you discover and apply your unique strengths and passions so you can make a lasting impact, lead with confidence, and achieve the success you desire. So with that, Tristan and I want to wish you a fantastic week, and Tristan, you take us home.
All right, brother. Hey, so we expect you guys, I think if I'm monitoring this right, there are 3 people that have already signed on. We haven't even shut this thing down yet, and there's 3 people that already signed on. So understand that this is going to go fast. You deserve it. You owe it to yourself to separate yourself from your peers, okay? You have already proven that by being on this. So go ahead and sign up and secure your slot. But anyway, folks, thank you for your attendance, and just remember that victory is near.